Okay, welcome to the call.
Okay, awesome. All right, so first and foremost, I gotta put everybody on here so I can see you all. There we go. Perfect. Welcome to our Monday night call. It is Eclipse Day. It's been a crazy day for some of us, and the energy's all over the place. So I just want to start by, really opening up this call. That the reason we're on tonight, and it's the third call with this topic, I believe, that we've had in the last couple of months, just really focusing on the DMO, and for a reason. Okay, so I've been talking to so many of you over the last couple of weeks, and what I find the difference between the super successful in this business and the people that kind of get stuck and flounder is the control of time. And it's such a weird concept all in general. Time is the one differentiator that we all have in common. It doesn't matter who you are. We have X amount of hours during the day, X amount of, waking hours during the week. Some of us can live on less sleep than the others, but it still catches up to all of us. And it's so much about how we utilize the skill sets and the tools that we have available to us in the time that we have to work to get things done. And that really dictates where we're going to go, and what we're going to do. And so particularly there's a lot of us out there that work full time. There's a lot of us that are full-time parents. There's a lot of us, every single person I'm looking at right now is a really busy person that I know. You guys are always on the go doing something, working with somebody. And if we work together and really hone in on this skill, and it's not a criticism. I want to be really, really clear before we take another step down this, into this topic. I'm not being critical of anybody. I'm focusing on trying to teach you things that are going to set you up for success, and myself. And trust me, this is the hardest thing that I have to harness in this whole experience. I can work myself to the bone. You've seen me do it. Like, I literally work myself into a hole where I get myself sick or whatever, because that's who I am. It's always, I'll go until the goal is done or the job is done or whatever. And it's really not the way this is meant to be run. The point is to utilize this as a part-time business to generate a full-time income. And that requires changing our thinking a little bit. It requires us to prioritize things a little bit differently. It requires us to get really good at utilizing duplicating skills and tools that we can pass down to our team, because if we don't do that, then we max out at a certain point. There's only X amount that you can do before you either fall over or, you burn out or whatever, right? Does that make sense? So what I wanted to say about all this is that, this whole business, it starts with a goal, right? And the goal begins with a why. So it all comes back to the why are we doing this part, right? And that's, in some language we use, some people call it a B, some people call it a goal, some people call it whatever, but what's the driving force? What's the energy that's behind that? That's all tied into your why. And so, and kind of the what too. If you want to, bring it down to that, for me, why am I doing this? My life is insane right now. Insane. I have two parents living with me. I have my sister visiting every other week. I have one child literally starting kindergarten for the first time tomorrow. The other one is like a monster. I don't even know what's gotten into her, but she's a monster right now. Like, literally, she's like, she just went in and got a donut. She got herself a donut we don't even have donuts in my house ever. She just, she was sitting on the couch eating a donut. And they're all like, what are you doing? It's nuts right now. It's absolutely crazy nuts. I'm up till odd hours of the morning. I'm having panic attacks at 3 a.m. in the morning because my dad's dying. It is a really crazy time. But yet, I am disciplined enough, I am focused enough, and I am driven enough to make this the priority, to put this in front, to put the emotions second. To make sure that whatever it is that I do commit to happens, and then I switch gears and go back to crazy life and everything that's happening. So I'm illustrating that for you, because not because I want people to feel bad, it's because I want you to realize that if we do it right, your business still grows, things still move forward. And it's about mastering that skill, because otherwise what happens is you have these crazy ebbs and flows. and then it doesn't feel good. And it's like, what happened? Oh, I got a setback. Oh, I got this, I got that. But the people that have been consistent over the years, regardless of the things that happen, and Lisa, I have to give her total credit for this. She is a machine. She has worked this business. I've seen her, done it with her for, almost 10 years now, the two of us. And she has stayed consistent with all the stuff that I know personally that goes on in the back of her life too, and just shows up every day, So much of this, I wanted to ask you guys, I asked you to bring a piece of paper for a reason. I'm going to show you the model that I put together for myself to put out there. And then I'm going to just use that as an example so you guys can see, and I will post my schedule because I think it'll be easier for you guys to schedule some things. And that's really out of necessity at the time right now, because what's happening is I'm getting a lot of requests, which I want those requests, but I think if we can organize the time and you guys know when the best times are for me, then it'll help us all communicate and work with people better. Okay. So the first and foremost is I was going to say this too, because this is important, that the business, in order to do this business, and as we teach our teams, keep these two things in mind. It's really, the business requires skills. So the skills happen through repetition and practice, right? That's how they learn, through these three-way calls, through interacting, through going to events, through reading the books, through doing all that stuff. And then it's the time and the DMO and really the mastery of that. So it's the combination of those two things. Just keep that in the back of your mind, because all of you on the phone tonight, you're building teams, and those teams are going to need your knowledge of that as you're walking them through that. They're going to ask you, what do I need to do to be successful? You collect skills and you designate time, right, to work your business. Okay, so I'm going to go take a look really quick here. I'm going to share my screen and show you guys what I put together. Okay. Hopefully you guys, can everybody see that? Yeah, okay. All right, so basically what I did is I took out, what are the things that are going to move me forward? I know right now, because of the way things are falling into place for the fall, with two kids in two different schools, there's drop-offs, there's pickups, and I'm not using those as excuses anymore. I'm using those as opportunities. So for me, every time I do one of those two things, it puts me in a place where I'm going to see similar, familiar faces over and over again. And that'll give me an opportunity to communicate with new moms, right? And build relationships. So if I look at this, the way I set it up is that, Monday through Friday, when I wake up, I usually wake up about 6:30, and I grab a cup of coffee and I start on my Boxer and I check. And it's nice because with the East Coast team, you guys are usually leaving me messages. Chris-Anne's really good about this. I know Danielle usually leaves me one or two love messages there. And I get Gina sometimes will message me in the morning, but some people are more morning people, right? So I want to just designate time to be able that you guys, because I know you're working and you have questions and there's things going on. I know Jen Bernstein is another person sometimes, if you need me, you just Vox me, and that'll be the time when I can get, back and forth with communication there, right? It's between 7 and 9, my time. It also is nice too, if you have a busy day, like Marie, you've done this in the past where you've made me a message about the things that you're going to get done that day. And you can use that as accountability time. Just know that I will be checking, specifically between those hours. And because I'm getting schedules ready and getting other things ready at the house, the Voxer tool allows me then to be, to do what I need to do at home, but also be, interacting with you guys. Does that make sense? So I'm looking at my life, which is what I want you guys to do. Look at your life and the rhythm of your life. And then inside that rhythm, where can we carve out moments to do certain things, right? So 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. is blocked off for me because that's when I'm going to be dropping kids off. I have a 9 o'clock and a 9:45 drop off. So if I drop off at 9, that gives me 30 minutes to communicate with other moms and parents or teachers or whoever. And then I drive over to the other school and drop her off there. And then from 9 to 9:45 to 10, it kind of gives me another 15 minutes to make connections. And then what happens is I go straight into business building activity. Do you see this? So I specifically, and I was ready. I just want you guys to know this. This last week, I was wrestling with the school district to possibly transfer schools because that's how dedicated I am to my DMO, to being productive. So I was literally going to move her from one school to the other because they had me in an afternoon program, which would have given me no time without kids all day. It would be like I drop off and pick up one, and then I drop off the other one. So I'm just saying, like, you know, when it's a priority, you find a way, right? Luckily, they squeezed us in, and so we got into the morning. But from 10 to 1, business building activity is so paramount. This is different than Voxer. This is different than three-way calls. Three-way calls is supporting you guys and doing those other things. Business building is being in front of new people, right? If it's talking to new people, it's being in front of new people. It's, you know, working on my own skill set. It's going to workout classes where I can meet like-minded individuals and I can really invest in those relationships and build prospects. It's anything I can do to bring new conversations to the game. That's what business building is. So, you know, I wrote it down below in the notes section there, but it's one-on-ones, coffees, lunch dates, smoothie dates. That could be like a networking event. You know, I'm going to join the chamber this year, very likely. Salad in a jar parties. I could say, okay, moms, after drop off, come over and we'll go do salad in a jar, you know, group exercise, etc. So I think it's really important that we, as we grow a business, identify what is like a type business building activity and what are the maintenance things. Because so many of us get busy with the busy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get busy with the Voxer messages. We get busy getting on calls. We get busy with whatever. And that's all nice and dandy, but if that's not paying your paycheck, that's not building your paycheck, you know? Like, I literally have a vision of building $1 million income with this business. And the only way that I'm going to get there, I know personally, you know, I mean, even $100,000, like, that's the goal for this year. Like, you know, to clear those numbers, we have to get some of these things ingrained in our behavior set so that, one, people can count on it, you know, so that you guys can count on somebody being available for you between 2 and 5 for three-way calls, right? And that I can have that time to dedicate to myself to make these things happen. Is every day going to be perfect and work exactly like this? No, of course not. But what I'm trying to do is just section off the time so that it's highlighted, and I know, and I'm even posting this in my kitchen so that my parents and my family can see it so they know what I need to be focused on. So if I have to take a day off and do a doctor's appointment or whatever with my dad, then I can fill that back in someplace else. Does that make sense? And just anchoring in and really protecting too, just the kids' time, the family time, and then three-ways and coaching. So the coaching stuff, you know, I love doing that with you guys. I'm just going to need you to be in charge of that, like really asking for it. If there's something that you want to work on, if there's something that you have questions about, if there's something, you know, that you want to go deeper with or see more of or strategize on or whatever, that's like a sweet spot for me. I really enjoy the personal development piece so much, but we need to schedule it so that, because what's been happening, I'd say over the last year, is I've been really flexible because I had a nanny for so long that it was easy for me to be like, yeah, let's do it, right? And now we're kind of in a space where I need to get more organized, and I think that's only going to benefit everybody else, truly, you know? So I just wanted to bring this to your attention because I wanted you to have a visual to see like what that might look like for you. And I know Danielle was talking about listening to the Julie Herbst training on the DMO, and she was going to share kind of some of her impressions as well on some of the tips and stuff that she picked up from there. So Danielle, if you want to do that now, it's probably a good time. And then we'll finish up, you guys, with roughing out like a rough draft for yourself to be able to say, okay. And, you know, I get that, you know, some of you are going to be like, okay, so from 7 till 7, I'm totally tied up and I can't do anything, right? Because I'm working or whatever. But then like, where can we fit stuff in? Like, can we fit in, you know, Voxers on the drive to work? Like, can we listen to like a training or something, like whatever it is that, you know, or maybe it's getting organized and printing out something like this and having, you know, just 2 people that you contact each day. And so maybe on your drive, your job is to press the button on your phone that, you know, for their contact and call them and just say, hey, Sally, like, I just wanted to check in and see how your experience is going. I'm on my way to work. I've been thinking about you. Your order's getting ready to ship out. You know, hope you're doing great and can't wait to hear all about it. You know, whatever. Text me back with a good time to reach you. Maybe that's your work for that moment in that day, but just making sure that it's organized enough so that it happens, right? Because we all have the best intentions. Let's be real, right? And then we blink and it's Friday and we go, what just happened, right? And especially in a month like September when you can maximize your income. I mean, I'm telling you, we've seen it every single year since I started. This is always our biggest month. As a company, January is, but as a team, September is every single year. And it's because we're young and we are involved in our calendar, and our kids go to school, and we have lots of young friend families, and it just kind of grows from there. Like this year is a whole new school for me and a whole new place to meet people. Like my calendar is packed with events, and I did that on purpose so that I have things to plug them into, All right. Any questions? And then I'll turn it over to Danielle for a minute. No?
So.
Okay.
No questions? Okay, so I'll just quickly, I did listen to that Julie Herbst call. It was put out, I want to say it was like 2 weeks ago now or so, and it came through the Campbell team. So a flyer was shared with it. And I'm going to encourage the whole team to listen to it because it was really good. Like it was really, really good. But I downloaded it so I can share it to ours because it's not the next night playback anymore on there. So you have to go kind of search for it. Anyway, what kind of hit me is she talked about, you have your to-do list, and I'm such a to-do list person. Sounds like she always was too, but you've got your to-do list and you like to write your to-do list and check things off your to-do list. But then what you really want to have is your success list, right? So, the difference being is you have your to-do list, and the thing that happens with your to-do list is you kind of can get like just caught up in it and stuck in the weeds and go off on tangents and what have you. And typically your to-do list aren't always things that are, like Melissa was talking about, those business building, money making activities. And so that's something that would fall on your success list. And I think, for me personally, this is something like I want to work on. And so what she talked about was, you write your to-do list, but pull off of your to-do list, a few of those items that really are those money-making activities, and those go on your success list. And people that utilize a success list, you're really aiming in a specific direction towards success, towards specific actions. And so that was kind of something that really hit me. There's also what I think Melissa has done so nicely in putting together her little time chart. On the call, she also talked about time blocking and literally setting aside time for everything. That would include, like, she put on there, and she got a lot of this from, there's a book, and I totally didn't write down the title of it, so I want to listen again. But time blocking, like your rest period, if you're going to exercise, your time with your family, like that's all important time, and you should put it in your DMO, put it on your calendar, put it on your chart, wherever you're putting this. And then you've got your DMO in terms of what you're doing for your business. So, and she talked about too, a lot of people say they want, a big paycheck. They want to be really successful in this business, but are you putting in the time for it? And so in her, what she has referenced was, 4 hours a day, 5 days a week is a really good chunk of time to be successful in this business. And if you can chunk those hours together, great, but not all of us can, especially if you're working full time. Maybe you do an hour here and 2 hours there, but the more you can chunk together, the better. And setting aside time to actually plan your week out. And so a lot of people will plan your week out like the Sunday night, right? And I'm like totally guilty. I will confess, like I always am like, Sunday night, I'm going to plan out my week. And then I sometimes don't. And Monday morning rolls around. I'm like, all right, let me plan out my week now. It's Monday morning, and you're in the midst of it. And one thing leads to another, and it's craziness. So I'm committing to myself, and here I'm putting it on, calling it all, hold me accountable Sunday night to really plan out my week much more better, be much more organized. Similar situation was I've got my little one going off to kindergarten too, which is a whole new experience for us, but it also puts me in a different position with new people to meet as well, which would be, exciting. Every time I feel like you go into a new grade, it's new parents that, you can meet. Anyway, so Sunday night, planning out your week. And then she talked about also reviewing your goals. And I thought this was interesting too. So you should have your like someday goals. You should have your 5 years from now goals, your 1 year from now goal, your monthly, you should have a monthly goal, a weekly goal, and a right now goal. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And I mean, she talked about so much on this call too. There was really a lot of really great nuggets, some good stories actually, which is another reason why I think it's great to listen to this call, because her story alone is great, but some other stories she referenced kind of really hit home, especially for many of us that are parents. So I'm going to encourage everybody to listen to this, and I'll post it up for the whole team if I can figure out how to do that. Sure.
Thank you, Danielle. I'm glad you got to listen to it. I actually put in a request to corporate that they put her on main stage and have her train for main stage at conference, because it was such a good training. And I felt like every minute was packed with something. She's such an excellent teacher. And it's funny, you guys, we're in the business, like we talk about the reason that our business is so heavy in relationship, unlike, like the LuLaRoe and some other companies or whatever, where they just sell items and things. This is different because the two most personal things to people are their diet and their time. You think about that, right? Like, think of how defensive we get. Like, if somebody starts, like, I know I'm this way. If somebody's like, I don't know, like my dad used to like say things that would bug the crap out of me, like about like, he would like the way I was eating or something, I don't know, something, right? And I'd be like, well, like as soon as there was some kind of comment, I like automatically like got all, like defensive or whatever. But we do it about our time too. And I find myself doing that with Paul. He'll bug me. He'll be like, I literally just put a timer on to lay on the couch and close my eyes for 10 minutes so I could be ready for this call. And I had 5 interruptions in 10 minutes. My mother, he came 3 times. My daughter came in once, then the other daughter came in, and I was like, seriously, you guys, there's a timer and I'm closed. Like, my eyes are closed. Like, what? Like, I just need to reset. Like, I need that chance to reset. But and he was coming in to ask me to do other things. He wanted me to, I'm not kidding. I'm using this as an example. I want to be vulnerable with you. Like, he wanted me to clean up the stash of pillows that I have in the bedroom in the corner because I took it out of my parents' closet because there was no other fucking place to put it. Excuse my French. But seriously, like, I'm resting. I've got 10 minutes. I can't think about the pillows. I need to think about nothing for 10 minutes so I can be fresh, Like, then Francesca comes in. She's stealing, I don't know. It's just, she's stealing work markers to go draw on this other thing. She's not supposed to do it. Gabby wants a donut. I mean, it was like the whole big thing, And then what was the other thing he asked me? Oh, can you come look at this? No, I can't. I cannot. For right now, I cannot. And it's the thing. It's the thing we protect the most. So that's why it's personal. And that's why when we're talking with people, from the main stage, Kurt Beavers talked a lot about, it was Michelle Ball. She said so much about, really coaching your team with fatherly love, not motherly love, right? Like, to get them to a place in success. And she said the biggest mistake she made up until the point she was a 50 Club was that she was mothering them too much. And I fall guilty in that a lot. And I'm understanding to the nth degree. I always understand. Trust me, I do. But the father hat has to come on sometimes, because there's some of you that I care so much about, all of you really, but I want you to be successful. And when I see you miss a mark, or I see all those other things, it pains me. I carry the guilt, And so just know I'm working with you. And if there's a moment in time when we have conversations, about this kind of stuff, about priorities, because listen, people will be bandits. There's another book that Julie's referenced over the years called The 10-Minute Monkey Manager or something. I do have it in my library. I can post a picture of it. But she's like, you're letting the monkey steal all your time, and so much of us, so many of the caring people out there, the helpers, right? We're all helpers. We all like to I'll volunteer for everything, right? We have a tendency to give our time away without protecting it. And it's so critically important, you guys, that we learn this skill, because if we don't, it's just a life skill. I look at some people that work out on a regular basis, and I always ask myself, how do they do that? And the only way I could wrap my head around it to do this was to realize that if I work out with other people, that's work time. That's business building activity. And so that's where I got to fit it into my calendar just now in this last couple of days, of really forcing myself to do that. Before, I was thinking of it as being self-indulgent. It's my time away. It's my time off. It's a time for me. Well, no, if I incorporate it this way, then I'm more responsible than I am selfish. So I'm more likely to do it because it's a responsibility piece. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So time is personal. It's personal to a lot of people. It's going to be personal to your team. You know, when they start getting going and you have people that are building, they're going to go through this too. And they're going to want to feel busy and successful, and everybody's busy, right? So how do we, the only way to get them to prioritize some of these things, and some of the things that are uncomfortable too, that's usually the part where it slips under the rug. It's usually the calls. It's usually the follow-up call before the shipment goes out. It's usually the call to a canceled customer or the whatever. Danielle and I were talking this morning about, somebody who we've bought, things from, and just the way that was handled. Like those are the things that differentiate us. Like I know, like I took a return back this week because I let something slip. And I felt terrible about it. She's like, I'm up to my ears. My mom didn't want her shipment. She brought it to me and whatever. This is a personal friend of ours. I was like, say no more. I'll be over with the return label. I'll come pick it up off your doorstep. She's like, well, we're going out. I said, put it outside. I'll go get it. I mean, she was so appreciative of the way I handled it that's what she's going to remember. Right. And it's all of these things compiled that leads to success. So what I want to do just before we kind of wrap up here, it's right at 6:30, is to take out a piece of paper and really encourage you guys to do similar to what I did. And I'm going to put it back up there so you can see it, but really just take a look. Go Monday through Friday. I left my weekends open for two reasons. One, things pop up. I have to be available for a lot of working team that I'm bringing on. And so oftentimes I'll get a request to go do something, and that'll fall into that category. And I also have to get better about scheduling fun in my life. My mom has been a really good influence for that. She's forcing me to do fun things when I could just work myself, and because work is fun for me. So, but truly, like, scheduling things like going to the fair or going to a play or a movie or something like that. Like I have to actually get serious about that, put that on my calendar. So anyway, I'm going to share the screen again. And I would encourage you, I think it was Julie that did I'll just talk over this while you guys are sketching this out, but I'm pretty sure it was her that said a couple years ago, she was talking about working out and how she was like, that was one thing that she was non-negotiable about because she was a fitness trainer. I'm pretty sure it was her. And she said she had to get that way too about her business time, because when she scheduled time to make phone calls to people, it was so easy for her to get distracted or to have somebody else put a request in, and instead of saying yes, she said, I have an appointment at that time. How about an hour later? And protected it, because if you speak to yourself about the time you schedule for your own business stuff, like as in its appointment, like it is an appointment with yourself, but you use that word, it triggers something professional in your brain.
Yes. And it must have been her because she referenced it on the call. And
Did
so,
she? Okay.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah.
I listened to the call too. I remember that.
Yeah. When she said, when you say for your hours of, 10 to 12 PM, that's the chunk of time you've allotted for your business building activity. And someone comes to you with, can we go do this? Can we do a call? You know what? Actually, I have somebody already scheduled at that time. I have something already scheduled at that time. And you that, like you said, that time is sacred, and use that time for business building activity. Do the activity. Don't worry about the outcome. Don't worry about the results. Just get through the activity. Don't worry about the paperwork, or whatever that might come along with it. Push that all to the side, because that's filing stuff. Not that we have much to file or, what have you in this business, but that's not paying you anything.
Right.
And something that, from another NMD sideline friend, from my pod always says is, do the thing you don't want to do the most first.
Right. That's such good advice.
Just do that. Make that be, if it's a tough phone call, if it's a return, if it's whatever, do that first. Just do that first, get it out of the way, and then move on. Everything else will be easier.
That's like paying bills. It's like the big one that you really don't want to do, but you have to do, right? Like pay that first and then
just do that first. Yeah. And then you guys can check on me on Sunday nights and see if I've done my DMO.
I was just going to say, Danielle, I think it would be really fun. And I thought about this in the past, like if we had like for the people that want an accountability group. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all get on at the same time and do it, or we have a Voxer chat and says, okay, got mine done, and you post it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that would be really good. Like post your week, just a snapshot of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's something to be said to just say it and say, yeah, you know what, I'm going to call this person this week. I'm going to call them, or I'm going to go, XYZ. But to physically write it down
Totally.
is a big step. And then to write it down and share it with even just one other person, like you said, like Marie tells you about what she's got going on. I mean, in a lot of ways, that is like an accountability.
Yeah.
It's like, here's what I'm going to do today. I've got this meeting, and like Chris Ann does that with me all the time too. Like, always tells me I've got this. I'm going to coffee date with this person, talk to them about this. Like, in a way that is too about a little bit of an accountability. I know I can follow up with her like, hey, how'd that meeting go? How's that looking?
Yep. When I don't tell this story often, but when I was first starting out and I switched and I was working, for myself for the first time, your money, I know what it's like. I've been through the ranks like all you guys, I know what the paychecks are. I see what everybody gets paid. And I remember I had gotten a freelance job that I was doing on the side. And I had to do a lot of that stuff where it was like, block time out. And I remember getting a couple of requests this one time, and this guy, he was kind of drilling me a little bit. He's like, yeah, we have a deadline, this and that. And I said, I understand, but I told you when I took this that I have a job, I own a business, and this comes first. And that paid me $50 an hour cash, so it was the kind of thing that I had to be that like devoted, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I've been through every step that you guys have been through, and there's so much that we can do out there. There's so many things that can steal the time. But then I look at the people that have like really hunkered down and done it. And you hear these stories a lot of the times of the people that have had these like tragedies and all this stuff. And that's what drove them to get to the top. Like, I don't want tragedy to be the driver for you guys.
Yeah.
I want the goal, the excitement, the fun, the whatever, the good stuff to be the driver, right? Like, I want you to get there because you deserve to be there, because every single one of you deserves to be there, and you deserve to achieve whatever it is that you want. And you guys come on every week. Like, it's the same people. I get it. I know who you are. There's no illusions about that, and I love you to pieces, like to the point where I feel like when you bring a goal to me, when you bring, that dream to me, that goes in my heart. Like, I feel like I'm the protector of that dream. And just know where my heart is at when we're having all these discussions, because I'm really in the right place. But Michelle, you're going to need a new one, because you guys just did your big goal this summer, didn't you? Was it?
Coming October.
Oh, it's October. Okay. All right. But it's all paid for, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you need another something right behind that to fill that gap, that void. As soon as you achieve
your own dream trip now.
Yeah. Or something, something that, I mean, for me, it's like, I probably have too many like dreams, that's, but like a savings account, a this or that or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, always try to make sure that you fill something right behind it, because that's what keeps you going.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. And Julie too talks about on the call, dreaming, we always say dream big, dream big. And when she first started too, she, like so many of us probably, it's like you feel uncomfortable. Like, we don't allow ourselves the chance to dream about any big, dream vacation type of house, car, whatever it might be. Like, we just like, that'll never happen. But to allow yourself to be able to do that. And she even talked about, how she found she did do it. She wrote these things down, 18 years later, she's checked everything off the list. That's pretty amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody want to share before we go what they came up with?
Melissa, I just want to say something on a side note that, with losing my father 3 months ago, spend the time with your dad.
I know.
Okay?
Yeah.
Oops, and I'm getting like low power mode. And still work. I get it. We have to work. And we like working. Work is an escape. I love working. But that's the one thing I tell everybody is he's in a better place now. I truly believe that. My father was sick since we were kids.
Yeah.
But the fact that I can't have a conversation with him right now, that's what hurts. So you can have that. So have those conversations, have the tough conversations, have the loving conversations, but just have them now while you can. And with your mom and with your spouse and with whoever, for everybody. But, you know, so that's my
Is she
advice.
talking to me?
No, I'm talking to everybody.
No, I know, but I'm in that spot. My dad, I am doing a lot of stuff with my dad right now because of all the stuff he's been through this year with his cancer and everything. And the latest is I am now going to Florida for Thanksgiving, which was not in the plan. And I'm going to Rhode Island next summer for 3 weeks, which was not in the plan, but it's for him. So I get it.
But you'll appreciate that. Like, take that time.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I hear you, Lisa. And I am 100% putting things in balance, but there's also, how do I say this? This business has given me the most flexibility that I ever could have had I couldn't get this. I would have been fired working anywhere else, right? I mean, it's true. Like, even just now taking the time, and when I had kids taking the time, but there is also a responsibility to the sense that, I'll be really vulnerable. My paycheck dropped a big chunk this summer when I took time off, and that's because I think a lot of what I do pours energy and awareness into the rest of the team, and we still have a young team. When we can build leaders that rise up and carry that, I can take that time, and I can take,
right.
But I have responsibilities to my family too, so it goes both ways, and it's amazing. But I'm here, and I'm with him through it all.
Right.
Oh, and I'm so grateful for that. I want that for everybody, that ability, the flexibility. Marie, you took the time, you did everything you needed to do. We just, we covered you wherever we could, and, and it's that way. It is that way. So you're right. You guys are all right. We're in a great place with great people, and if we really just dig in and maximize this, 5 years from now, your life will be something you never envisioned it would be. Seriously, like, imagine, waking up to, retirement in our 30s and 40s, and, and just not having to really ever think about those other things, or changing the life for your children, setting it up for that. For me, I'm really focused on, like, by the time the kids get into college, that their college is paid for. I saw my parents struggle with debt. That's part of the reason I think my dad is sick. He worked his ass off his entire life, in a job that, stressed him out. This fuels me and fills me up, there's difference.
Right.
So anyway, we're off topic, but I appreciate the heartfelt message there, and I love you, and thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. We good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Show a friend your DMO that you just sketched out, so you have accountability. Yeah. And then snap a picture, and yeah, if you guys want to do the Sunday thing, I say we do it. It's, I don't want to add, I'm really sensitive to adding one more thing. There's so many things we can be plugging into right now to, make things easy and automated. We didn't get to talk about calendars. We're way over time, but I do want to let you know that there's a lot on the calendar for September. So I'll type that up and put it in a one page so you guys can see it, try to make it a visual so it's really clear. But there's just, this is the time. It's the time. And I would just, if you're going to, there's ebbs and flows in our business. This is the time to really strengthen that muscle and just go all out and focus on it, and then just kind of get to October and go, and then breathe and reset, but really everybody should have the potential to add 10 to 20 customers or more this month. It's just always that way. Yeah.
And so looking in the calendar, because Melissa and I talked about this, her calendar for September and what it looks like, and it will very much something that here on the East Coast we can mirror in terms of events. Yeah. And so, like from coast to coast and north, south, east, west, we can all be doing these things. They just fall into a nice time frame, like around the shred and those events and back to school and all that kind of stuff that we can all like plug into and duplicate.
So I'll end on that note, Danielle. Thank you. Because one of the things we talked about is moving the shred dates to the 11th through the 20th, because Labor Day had, just kind of with Labor Day and back to school, people just may not quite be ready for the shred. But if we have that full week to gear them up and get them ready and get the products in their hands, then on the 11th they can start. So I'm anchoring it so that I have a salad in a jar on the Sunday, the 10th. And then I have a customer appreciation event on the 20th, which is a wine event. So I'll get you more details on that. But it's a really nice way to celebrate the fact that we did the 10 days together, you know. And also I think, you know, twice a year I'm trying to do customer appreciation events, and then twice a year in between do rep appreciation events. So like one in the summer and one in the winter. So we'll do our annual Honeybee Christmas party coast to coast. And Marie's coming down to visit me, so we're going to do something while she's here too. We're working on something, so it'll be awesome. But anyway, that's it. That's all I got over here. So
Cool.
thank you guys so much for getting on. I hope this is helpful. And, you know, as always, I'm here to support you in whatever you want to get done. Okay?
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
All right.